Let me guess. You spent a good part of your life believing that what drives a man crazy, what makes him obsessed, what makes him unable to stop thinking about you, is something about your body, your looks, your age, how you compare to younger women, how much effort you put into your appearance before he sees you. And if that's what you've believed, I'm not here to shame you for it. I'm here to tell you that you've been lied to, consistently, systematically, by a culture that profits from keeping women insecure and disconnected from the one thing that actually makes them magnetic. Because what drives a man truly, deeply, maddeningly crazy, the kind of crazy that keeps him awake at night, the kind that makes him reach for his phone just to see if you texted, the kind that makes him cancel plans to be near you, has nothing to do with what you look like. It never did. And today, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. Not because I read it somewhere, because I've lived long enough to watch it happen, over and over again. In my own life and in the lives of women I've known for decades. So stay with me. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, do it right now. Hit that button, turn on notifications, and join this community of women who decided to stop shrinking and start owning who they are. And tell me in the comments, have you ever felt like your age or your body was working against you when it came to attraction? Write it, because I promise you, the answer I'm about to give you will change the way you see yourself. Let's start with the thing nobody wants to say out loud. Most women, when they want a man to be drawn to them, go into performance mode. They become a version of themselves they think is more appealing, more agreeable, less complicated. They hold back opinions that might seem too strong. They laugh at things they don't find funny. They make themselves available in ways that feel unnatural. They show up as a carefully polished version of themselves, and then wonder why the connection never goes deeper than surface level. Here's what I want you to understand. Men are not drawn to the performance. Men are drawn to the person underneath it. And when the performance is all they see, they might be interested briefly, but they don't become obsessed. They don't become the kind of man who can't stop thinking about you. Because there's nothing to think about. Everything was handed over at once. Nothing was left to discover. The first thing that drives a man genuinely crazy, before anything physical, before any kind of intimacy, is mystery. Not manufactured mystery. Not playing games or withholding information to seem interesting. Authentic mystery. The natural mystery that exists in a woman who has a rich inner life and doesn't feel the need to put all of it on the table at once. A woman who is fully present in her own life, who has things she's passionate about, things she's working on, things she finds deeply funny or deeply moving, carries an energy that is magnetic in a way that can't be faked. She doesn't need to be the most talkative person in the room. She doesn't need to fill every silence. She doesn't need to explain herself. She just is. And that quality, that ease with her own presence, is something a man feels before he understands what he's feeling. He wants to know more. He wants to understand what makes her laugh like that, what she's thinking when she goes quiet, what's behind the look she gave when someone said something that clearly landed differently for her than it did for everyone else. She's a room with more doors than he can open at once, and that is irresistible. The second thing is confidence that comes from self-acceptance, not from external validation. I know what you might be thinking. I know how hard it is to feel confident in a body that has changed, in a face that carries the years. in a life that didn't turn out exactly the way you planned. I know. I've been there. Every woman who has lived long enough has been there. But here's what I also know. There is a version of confidence that has nothing to do with how you look, and everything to do with how you carry what you know about yourself. A woman who has made peace with her story, who has looked at her wounds, her mistakes, her losses, and chosen to be shaped by them rather than destroyed by them, walks differently, talks differently, holds eye contact differently, and men feel it immediately. Not because they can articulate it, they can't, most of them, but they feel the difference between a woman who needs them to tell her she's beautiful before she believes it, and a woman who already knows her own worth and is simply deciding whether she wants to include him in her world. That second woman is who they can't stop thinking about, because she didn't need their approval to feel complete. And that, in a world full of people desperately seeking validation, is genuinely rare. The third thing is what I call intentional presence, and this one is deeply practical, which means you can start using it today. Most people, when they're with someone they're attracted to, are not fully present. They're thinking about how they're coming across, whether they said the right thing, whether they should have worn something different, whether he's comparing them to someone else. And that internal noise creates a kind of invisible wall. The other person can feel it, even if they can't name it. They feel like they're talking to someone who is partially somewhere else. The woman who drives a man crazy is the woman who is completely, entirely, undividedly present when she's with him. Not because she's trying to impress him, because she's genuinely interested, because she's actually listening, because she finds the conversation worth being fully awake for. That quality of presence, real, unhurried, undistracted presence, is something so rare in the modern world that when a man encounters it, it short-circuits him. He walks away from the conversation and realizes he was more alive in it than he's been in weeks, and he wants that again. He thinks about it. He reaches out. He makes himself available in ways he didn't plan to. You didn't do a single thing except be fully there. That's the whole move. The fourth thing is the one that's going to push back on something you've probably been told your entire life. It's this: having a strong sense of what you will and won't accept. We've been taught, women of our generation especially, that being agreeable, being flexible, being the woman who goes along with things is what keeps a man interested. Don't be too demanding. Don't have too many needs. Don't make things complicated. And I'm here to tell you that is exactly backwards. The woman who drives a man crazy with desire and respect and deep attachment is the woman who knows her own standards and doesn't apologize for them. Not in an aggressive way, not in a list of requirements way that feels like a job interview. In a quiet, grounded, this is just who I am way that communicates total self-respect without a single confrontation. When a woman knows what she won't accept and holds that line without drama, without threats, without emotional collapse, a man respects her on a level that is completely different from how he respects someone who lets everything slide. And respect in the long run is what turns attraction into obsession. Because he knows that her choice to be with him actually means something. She chose him. She didn't settle for him. And there's one more thing, the fifth element, and this is the one I want to leave you with, because it's the one most women forget completely once they start worrying about attraction and desire and connection. It's joy. Your own genuine personal joy. A woman who is living a life she actually finds meaningful, who laughs easily, who is curious about the world, who gets lit up by things that have nothing to do with him, is one of the most attractive forces in nature. Not because joy is performative, but because it's contagious, because it signals aliveness, because it makes a man feel good simply by being near her, and he starts to associate her presence with feeling more alive himself. You don't have to be happy all the time. You don't have to pretend everything is wonderful. But a woman who has cultivated actual sources of joy in her life, who has things she loves and pursues them, carries a light that no amount of effort or technique can manufacture. And that light, that aliveness, is what he can't get out of his head. Not your youth, not your body. You, the version of you that is most fully herself. None of what I've described tonight requires you to be younger. None of it requires you to look different. None of it requires you to become someone else or learn a new set of tricks. All of it is already inside you, waiting for you to stop shrinking and start showing up whole. The woman who drives him crazy before anything even happens isn't trying to drive him crazy. She's just completely, unapologetically herself. And there is nothing more magnetic than that. Nothing. At any age. Go to the comments right now and tell me, which of these 5 things do you feel most disconnected from in your own life right now? Which one are you going to start working on this week? Write it out. Because naming it makes it real. And when things become real, they change. And before you go, I'm leaving 2 videos right here that continue exactly where this one left off. Watch them both. You won't regret it.